We'll get started and we'll let people through as they join today. So welcome to the first of our webinar series for the Customer Centricity World Series, featuring the European Customer Centricity Awards. This is our webinar for Europe, although I think we have a couple of people joining us from outside of Europe, but you're more than welcome to join us. So thank you for being with us this morning. We've got a fantastic conversation today. I'm very much looking forward to it. I'm Richard Kennedy. I'm the COO of Architect Global, and we run the Customer Centricity World Series. In our agenda today, I'm just going to do a quick welcome. I promise I won't speak for too long, and then I'll hand over to our wonderful panelists to introduce themselves, and then we'll get cracking straight into the panel discussion, where you will have your opportunity to jump in as well. Please join in as part of the panel. Towards the end, I'm going to open up the floor to everybody on this call. That's why we run these sessions like a meeting as opposed to as a webinar. We want you all to be involved. This is a community event. So we'll just get started with a couple of questions, get the conversation flowing. If you have anything you'd like to add, please just pop it in the chat and we'll come round to you once there's a space in the conversation. Some housekeeping, just until that happens, just if you could keep yourself on mute until we do open up the floor, that will be fantastic, just to avoid any background noise. I know we're all very used to this virtual world, but I still mute myself and then try and speak as well. So it is what it is. So some key dates for the awards. We're here because of the awards. So those of you thinking about entering, you have until the 13th of October to register your entry. The finalists will be announced on the 17th of November. And then the event next year, which is hybrid, the Customer Centricity Technology Show, which is brand new for this year. That's entirely to do with CX vendors, solutions that can help make your lives a bit easier, allow you to interact with the latest technology and hear some fantastic case studies to do with technology. That's on the 7th of May in Dubai. That will not be hybrid, that will be physical only, in person. And then we have our World Series conference and awards, and the awards ceremony will be live streamed online as well if you can't make it in Dubai. We are delighted to be supported by a wonderful group of partners, as you can see here on the screen, and we have two representatives of partners here on the call. We've got Adrian, who is part of Customer Experience Romania, and we have Sue representing the Customer Institute. So thank you to you for supporting us with the awards as well. Just a little bit about the awards. Our scoring model is endorsed by the University of Westminster in the UK, and our awards process is certified by the Customer Institute. So if you are thinking about entering the awards and you don't know whether it's a legitimate competition, these two organisations have looked deep into our processes and our scoring model, and you can be rest assured that your entry will be scored fairly and robustly by our panel of independent expert judges. So I think that's enough from me. Today's topic is, what do customers really want, self-service or human contact? And it's a really, really poignant topic today, because I think any of us who've been on LinkedIn for the last 4 weeks are sick to death of posts about AI and automation, and new tools coming out every single day. But what do our customers really want? Do they want this self-service, this automation, or are we craving human contact in this post-COVID world? To answer that question, we have a fantastic group of panelists. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen and ask each of them to introduce themselves. So if we could start with you, Adrian, please.
Thank you, Richard. Good morning, everybody, and welcome for the first event of the series of webinar organized by Architect Global. Thank you, Richard, and the team for doing this. My name is Adrian Lipolit. I'm coming from Romania, and I will to present myself to be brief. My professional background is coming from various industries: services, retail, financial and banking, where I developed organizations based on customer-centric strategies either startups, turnarounds, and the realignments of their strategies. At the moment, I am the founder, together with my colleague Gabriela, of Customer Experience Romania, and also we are organizers of the Romanian Customer Experience Professional Association. We develop activity in consultancy, implementing projects, but also to develop the customer experience and bring the standards in our country and the countries around us. So this is about me. I would like to handle to
Nicolette, if you'd like to go next.
Yes, thank you, Richard. My name is Nicolette Wuring. I have been working on the customer-facing side of organizations since the mid-90s of the last century, long before customer experience became sexy. And I've held executive roles in a variety of multinational organizations, always being the maverick who talked about customer centricity with CEOs who didn't have a clue what it was all about, but they saw the numbers and they were like, well, keep on doing it. And we've come a long way. I think that we live in really exciting times, especially also with the technology that keeps challenging us and keeps progressing. And I'm the founder of Customer Management Services, and I primarily work now as a guide for boards and C-suite members to help them taking their organization from talking about putting the customer at the heart of everything you all do to actually really doing it and being it. And with that, I would like to hand over to Sue.
Great. Well, thanks, Nicolette. And it's interesting, you and I have been working in CX before it was a thing. I've been working as a CX practitioner and consultant in the CX space for more than 15 years. But back in the 90s, I was definitely working in customer-facing roles. I'm from the UK, and currently I am a CX consultant working with organizations who are already customer-centric and they want to be better, or customers or clients who are just starting on their customer-centric journey, which is very exciting for me to see. And I work specifically with these clients in helping them build their CX infrastructures to drive customer lifetime value and corporate growth. I think that the best thing that really excites me is when my clients are seeing and getting these aha moments. Oh, I get what customer experience is all about. And also seeing their customers really embrace the customer experience that they're doing, which turns into helping them advocate for the business. So it's really a very exciting time for CX.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, all of you, for your introductions. And that leads us on very nicely with this exciting time in customer experience to discuss your opening statements. And just before you start with your opening statement about the topic, I'd also like you to just add in a little caveat sentence at the start about where we are with these AI technologies and where does it still need to go in order for us to serve our customers better. So if we could start with that and then go on to our opening statements of, do our customers want this automation or do they want the human contact? I think we'll start with Nicolette.
Yes, with pleasure. I've been thinking about this, and with the third wave of business transformation brought on by the rapid developments around AI, I think it's not about human only versus machine only, but human plus machine hybrid activities. And the risk associated with the design of increasingly automated service systems is that the positive, caring characteristics of an organization are lost. And care may in fact become part of a systematic organizational approach to carrying out activity in the world with implications for the design of increasingly automated service systems. And for me, care is about things as well as people, infrastructures, as well as human relationships. It's about flexibility and values, about balancing assistance and augmentation, autonomy and responsibility in increasingly automated service work. And in designing service organizations as systems of care, we need to take up long-term responsible visions of the organization's place in a wider world and ensure that automation and optimization don't wipe these out. Care is a process, not a product. And it's in the relationships of living and working with that care happens.
Love that. Care is a process. I'm going to steal
my motto is when you care, people notice. So what can I say?
Love it. Love it. Sue, if you'd like to go next.
Oh, great. Thank you. I have an interesting cartoon on my LinkedIn profile. It's about everybody jumping into an AI boat, specifically because it's AI. And I think a lot of times that's where we are with AI, that we're jumping in the boat, the AI boat, but we don't have an oar or we don't have a paddle. So we really need to step back with AI and look at what's our purpose for AI? What's the business problem that we're trying to solve? How is it going to ultimately help our customers? And how are we going to use AI? And that's where conversational AI comes in. But I think a lot of times with AI, a lot of people are looking at AI with the glass half empty. How is it going to impact my job? Am I going to lose my job? Versus looking at it the glass half full. How is it going to help me grow in my current role with the company? How can I take some of these maybe basic tasks and give that to conversational AI and work on things that are going to enable me to dive deeper into my customers and help my customers more. And I think one thing that really excited me was reading the Forrester latest predictions about where research is going. They're saying that research is still happening, but they're shifting the research resources from a general transformation to more specific type of needs, efficiencies, such as automation. And I think that that's a really good segue into automation. I don't view it as self-service versus live agent or a live person. I view it as how do we integrate both and serve our customer the best we can. And a lot of that has to do with what are our customer needs, what are they telling us, and how do we go about serving those needs?
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't think it's one or the other. And I think that's going to be a common theme throughout this conversation. It's about assistance as opposed to one or the other. So we'll go on to Adrian and your thoughts as well. Are you on the same lines, or have you got a wild card opinion on this?
Well, I think we are aligned of our thoughts. I will just complete. Our world has changed, definitely. And AI is no longer a test and learn. It is between us. It is in our daily lives. Still, I believe that technology is great until it is not. And when it doesn't, then at that point, you and the customers, we have to provide customers with a frictionless, I would say, and seamless shift to the live agent for support. Yeah, so we used to say that we have to give customers what they want the way they want. And if we look at the basis of customer experience, what are customers' expectations? Quality price balance, good quality price balance. They need the time and effort. Yeah, the balance of time and effort, and they are expecting emotion. So things are changing. Yeah, the society is changing. And as Nicolette said, and Sue completed, it's not about AI or human. It is the combination and the best way of offering a great experience to the customers.
Perfect. And that segues quite nicely into my first statement and question. And Sue, you've also helped with this by mentioning Forrester. So speaking about community and our customers, there's massive differences in generational preferences. And Forrester have done a little bit of research into this, and I love a statistic. So here goes, 68% of baby boomers, so that's people born between 1946 and 1964, still prefer human interaction when seeking customer support. I see that every day when I go to the supermarket and go to the self-checkout, and there are always people of that generation who will not use the self-checkout. They want to speak to somebody, they want to see somebody. So Forrester, you're right in that. I see it firsthand every day. And that's compared to 57% of Gen X, so those born between 1965 and 1980, and 39% of millennials, so that's people born 1981 to 1996. So is that something that CX professionals need to keep in mind when creating this digital strategy and this digital transformation? Should they be looking at this generational change and who their customers are? And, you know, if you do have customers across those generations, how do you serve them? Let's start with you, Adrian.
Just to unmute. So the statistics looks, shows the reality at the moment. It is an evolution of generations. And generations, they have preferences, and preferences are changing based on the economical environment, based on the evolution of technology, which is, again, we are looking at why we have AI to support customer, to offer them a better experience, or we introduce AI to manage different situations in the company. We know that these days, companies face turnover and retention issues, and then introducing AI is supporting the business, supporting the continuously offering best and better services to the customers. Still, when we look at the preference of the generations, we have to look not only at, let's say, the gender and the report is saying, Forrester report, it's very good. In my opinion, everything depends on the persona, and it is the combination between persona, the product, and the maturity of company from the technology digital perspective. If we look now at the different products, customers will prefer an human interaction when buying an expensive product. You will not buy through an e-commerce Bugatti or a Ferrari or a Mercedes or a let's say top quality product. You'll go there and you'll touch it. Then in the other extreme, it is the AI supporting and fast and efficient product acquisition. Even Amazon. So when we prepared this webinar, I looked on the history of the comments and the evolution. Few years before, Amazon was having the journey of the customer starting fully as e-commerce, and the customer service afterwards was a human interaction. So it's a combination between AI and human. It is the new way of designing the omni-channel. And ultimately it is finding the right balance based on the persona that is buying from you, and definitely the product.
Thanks, Adrian. It's interesting that you said that about car sales, because the more and more that I see from car manufacturers is that they're trying to get people to buy online. And it blows my mind that they think that somebody is going to buy a car sight unseen without test driving it, you know, without interacting with it. And cars are getting more and more expensive. And the rule that you explained there, that, you know, the more expensive a product, the more somebody wants to touch it and interact with it. It blows my mind that these car manufacturers are so out of touch with their audience that, you know, they're getting rid of showrooms, they're pushing it all online, and it's, you know, click and collect a car. I mean, personally myself, and I'm 32, I would never buy a car without sitting in it and interacting with it. And especially, you know, I want the whole salesman pitch from the car salesman, tell me all of its features and get me excited about it. You know, it's a nice thing to do, I guess, the same as buying your first house, or, you know, a second house, or whatever. You want to interact with it. It's part of that emotional connection with that product. Whereas, you know, if I'm buying a frying pan, I'll just order one off Amazon. So yeah, it's interesting that some of those people are out of touch with their customers.
Yeah. And Richard, buying a wedding ring, it will not be done through an automated e-commerce shop.
No, but I did purchase it online. I never saw it. So it's interesting you say that, but I did deal with a human the whole way through. So there we go. Sue, if you'd like to go next.
Absolutely. And I am definitely on board with you and your love of statistics. It's very key to set conversations and discussions. One statistic I was thinking of was a few years back. It went something like companies were polled how they felt they understood their customers. And I think it was 85% of companies felt they got their customers, they understood them. And those same customers came back and said that there was 8% of them that thought the companies understood them. So there's that big disconnect. And I think sometimes brands look at these statistics and think, maybe I should be doing that. But again, they have to go back to what's right for them. That's why this whole notion of customer understanding is really the foundation of CX. You have to understand your customers. What do they want? What are their needs? And getting to know them. That's why it starts with research, and then looking at personas and looking at the journey, and then researching again and gaining their feedback, and not only taking that feedback, but looking at it and taking actions on that feedback to give them what they want and need. And that comes back to what are the tasks that they want to be able to have self-service on, do on their own, and what are the ones that they need help with, and developing a strategy and tactics around them, because that's what's going to drive not only customer trust, but customer belief and becoming advocates for the organization.
Absolutely. And you sort of helped Tom with his question there in the chat, saying, you know, is it product that relates to this? And as you said, Sue, it's all about feedback and knowing about your customer and finding out about your customer, about what they really want and what channel they wish to go through. And I think that speaks with Tesla. You know, the majority of people that purchase a Tesla, you know, they care about the environment. They're a certain demographic. They're not interested in a vehicle. It's a vehicle for vehicle's sake. I think that, you know, there are some people who might buy the sporty Teslas who want that performance. But again, it's down to that product again and that feedback. Nicolette, do you have anything to add on to that?
Thank you. Yes, I think I have come to CX from a customer operations and a customer service background. So I'm, I was also looking at Tom's question about, do we believe the product is decisive in the selling process? If I look at AI, I mean, I've started to implement the first self-service environments the beginning of this century. And it was really, I realized that there was going to be a time when customers would say, what do you mean I need to call customer service? I like to solve everything myself, and I like to do it in the middle of the night, and just enable me to do it. Interestingly enough, there's Nicola Millard from BT does research every year. And she also looks at, the different age groups and the different tools that people like to use. And people will always have a need for human contact. And especially, when you have a real problem that you cannot solve yourself online, or you feel insecure about, people really want to have the possibility to interact with a human, whether that's on the phone or it's through chat or whatever. And I think that that is really the interesting thing about AI, because it's like augmenting the human in the equation, and really enabling humans, whether it's a customer or it's a service rep, to real time be able to aid both sides to actually get into contact with each other when it's really necessary. So I think it's not so much trying to sort of create a journey where you force the customer into a certain direction. No matter how good your insights are, there are always unpredictable situations. And those are the ones you need to be prepared for. And those are the ones where especially AI can really help both the customer and the employee serving that customer, to get to a very satisfying interaction together. Also, what I said earlier about care and adding that quality of empathy, because everybody can automate and everybody can deploy AI, but as a brand, where do you really make the difference? What makes you prefer brand A over brand B? And it's also with Tesla. It used to be a very expensive car. It's getting cheaper now, but where did people really switch off? Because there was no service proposition going with that product. And that's really where, looking further down the line and into the future, where you really make the difference as a brand is when you are able to create that personalized, relevant experience for the customer when and where and how he or she wants it.
And I want to stick on that, Nicolette, about the chatbots and virtual assistants and how can these companies, whichever company you are, whether you are, an e-commerce platform, or whether you are a service provider or a physical shop, for example, how do you make sure that if you are one of these companies, how do you ensure that this self-service option provides a personalized and satisfactory experience for the customers? It's all well and good having it, but how do you make sure that it works and it's, providing the experience that people want?
Do you want me to respond?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think you have to design for care. So really back humans up by an organizational ethos, a culture that gives them autonomy and provides a field of cultural resources by which to orient themselves and from which to draw in order to solve the problems they encounter. That's that autonomy, for people to do in the moment what for them feels right for that customer in the moment. Given sort of the framework and the guiding principles that you have as an organization, but creating that space for people to make the decision in the moment. There's a great TED talk from I think from 2009 already, from Barry Schwartz, about it's called On Our Loss of Wisdom, and it has nothing to do with AI, but he takes the example of a janitor in a hospital, and the janitor has a very clear job description with tasks and everything he needs to do, but everybody in the hospital loves him. And why do they love him? Because he is able to create being a janitor into a very special experience, which is, for instance, when there is a family waiting for a family member who is having very heavy surgery, he doesn't come in because it's on his task list to clean that room at that moment of time, but he waits respectfully until the family is gone and then he cleans the room. So the job gets done, but he decides in the moment what's the right moment to do it. And it's really things like that. I think that's the exciting thing also about AI. It enables people to be even more relevant in the moment instead of just executing the tasks that have been assigned to them.
Yeah, I think we've all come across those janitors, right?
Yeah.
Any member of staff who makes your day unexpectedly. It's not in their role. They just go out and light up.
Exactly. Those are the real moments of truth. Those are the wow moments. And we're going to need more and more of them and see more and more of them if we enable people to bring their authentic self to their work.
Absolutely. Love that. Sue, would you like to take on the question of how we ensure that the self-service options are satisfactory?
Well, I'll go two ways here, or two parts. First, it's all about the customer understanding, and as Nicolette was talking about, getting down to that research and finding out what they truly want. And a lot of that is getting down to research and enabling customers, giving them opportunities to provide that feedback and doing something with that feedback. But I'm also going to inject design thinking here, because I think as organizations and CX leaders, we really have to capitalize on our empathy skills and really putting ourselves in our customers' shoes. But I would also go a step further and keeping that design thinking hat on. How can we co-create with our customers? Because they can tell us in surveys or whatever what we think they want, but we really have to look at those behaviors, and giving them the opportunity to actually help us create is going to showcase those behaviors a little bit more. So all these add up to getting to the heart of things, getting to what our customers think that's going to help them, and deliver that for them.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Adrian, have you got anything to add to Sue and Nicolette's comments?
I will just add a few more comments and confirm what Nicolette and Sue just said. Self-service is a continuous improving process. So it is not a setup. You made the journey, this is it, and you leave it as it is. It is an two ways feedback and education. I mean, from us to customers and customers to us. Sue just mentioned that we have to take feedbacks, and I would say that we have to be very close to the customer and listen their feedbacks and stimulate their opinions, because we can educate them, we can direct them on how to best use the chatbots and all the AIs we provide. But we also have to listen, because it's not one size fits all. Everything, it is based on the persona, it is based on the evolution, and because everything is evolving on the daily basis, what is now valid, it will not be valid in half a year, 1 year time. This is why we have to be very close to them, to ask them questions, to listen, and to integrate in the process.
Yep. Thank you very much. I want to go to Piers. Your comment in the chat. I'm not sure if you're still with us, but you've said that your personal experience is that most of these automated chatbots are terrible, and they fail to answer any question. But then when you do speak to a human, it's much better. If you'd like to just elaborate on that a little bit for us.
Yes, I hope that's on a sort of binary basis, which most companies seem to operate. So I see, following my note, there's a chat note from Tom about a hybrid mix, but my experience is most companies seem to offer a very fixed binary solution for chatbots. It's either automated or it's human, pretty much from the get-go. Of course, being human, you need to have bodies at the end of the line, which is not practical for many companies all of the time. But really, my experience of automated chatbots is, I would say, high 90% frustration and infuriation, to the point where I don't know why companies do it. Because sorry, I said Nicola, but I should have said Nicolette pointed out, the reason people contact companies for issue resolution is it is an issue. It's an unexpected thing. It's the same way that endless FAQs provided on the website don't solve the problem. And when you're faced with trying to contact a company and you're trying to find the contact details, you're endlessly reiterated back into the website. And the reason you're trying to contact them is because the website doesn't tell you the answer to your problem. And I think this failing to understand that a human with a brain, I stress with a brain, not a human with a script that looks like the automated chatbot script. If you've got a human with a brain with the knowledge, and that could be AI powered knowledge, hurrah, yes, but that's all sitting behind them. You, the customer, want the insight and the information quickly. And automated chatbots, I'd be delighted to hear anyone who's had a great experience with an automated chatbot, but either because of the way customers write things are not the way they coded things, or because the chatbot is just not clever enough. And I can only imagine the complexity of trying to program a chatbot to actually answer all the questions that customers are coming up with. So you need a human with a brain, for lots of reasons. I mean, my background is text analytics, so I understand a lot of problems with trying to get a machine to understand what people are saying. And that's part of the problem. The machine, the chatbot, doesn't even understand what I'm asking, because I'm asking in a way that makes sense to me and not in a way that makes sense to the company. So I've talked for far too long, so I'm I
actually have another question for you to follow on from that, because I agree with you that in the past I have dealt with a lot of terrible chatbots. I have now recently dealt with a lot of very good ones, which is interesting. With this addition of AI, and I think it's only going to get better. But again, it goes back to what Nicolette, Sue, and Adrian were saying. It's about service design, right? And mapping that customer journey and mapping those things on the back end correctly. But the question I have for you, PS, is if you were in a queue and a chatbot online that says, okay, you are number 43 in a queue for an agent, would you like to speak to a chatbot? In the meantime, at least while you're waiting, you could have that self-service option. Is that something that you think would be helpful, or do you think it just infuriate you more?
Yeah, it is. I think there's another whole pot of if there's 43
It's
people.
helpful.
Yeah,
You think it is helpful? Okay.
It is, but if there's 43 people in the queue for the telephone, why is that? That's number one.
Exactly.
We are all fed up with hearing the telephone answer saying, we're experiencing a high level of calls, like that's unexpected. All day, every day, for the last 5 years, they've had more calls than expected, meaning they don't have sufficient resource to answer the phone, which is irritating in itself. But to have the option to at least dip in and try the chatbot, which might be human, it might not. And look, when I'm talking with a chatbot, I appreciate that the agent is probably having 5 or 6 chats at the same time. That's fine. It is an asynchronous communication. It's not like the telephone. We know that, and we can handle a bit of space and time. I don't mind a chat taking a long time, which a phone call would be one-on-one. So yes, that's a great option to dip people out, but not if it just irritates the hell out of you and leads you back into the same, because then you come back to the call with a bit less enamel on your teeth because you've been grinding it off by the useless chat facility. So yes, it's got to be good, Richard. It can't just be a sort of, let's just try and appease this with someone about with this.
Richard,
Absolutely.
great comments. If I may add something.
Yes, please.
I think that most of the examples that we know of chatbots are still old-fashioned chatbots. So it's really something that has been programmed, and I strongly believe that AI is really going to change a lot of that, because it's going to be much more self-learning, evolving environments where it's not so much what we programmed in the bot, but much more the bot is evolving with the kind of questions that it gets, and also by learning from the interactions that do happen where people are involved, and taking those learnings and improving as you go. So I think that if we look at chatbots and the way we have known them for the longest time until now, it's like very old-fashioned, and we're going to see quite a lot of development there.
Yeah, I was going to just add that I think the Me Too strategy, which I think a lot of these brands have decided to go with their chatbot. Hey, I see this, my competitor is doing a chatbot. Let me put a chatbot in there. Let me put the FAQs in there so I look cool because I have a chatbot. But if it's not serving a purpose, and I think we're definitely moving, it needs to be purpose oriented to drive this engagement.
Yeah, it's like Dunya says in the comments, AI frees up staff for duties that require more skill, but we always need a human touch. And that's also why I talked about, it's not machine only or human only, but I think with this third wave, we're really going into the human plus machine.
Yeah. And I've seen some really cool case studies with this, where it's agent assist. So on the back end, on the agent's side, and the AI is analyzing the sentiment of the conversation. For example, Pierce has been on hold for 45 minutes. He's getting a bit irate. He's been chatting to this chatbot that's not been able to help him. So as soon as he comes on, it would say on the sentiment analysis, negative sentiment, and then I can then use my empathy as a human to sort of apologize, and that you've been on hold for 45 minutes. Really, really sorry. It's very busy today. We're a bit understaffed. A few people are off sick. How can I help you? And then you can take the conversation from there. So immediately you're de-escalating the situation. And I think that augmentation, that's where we can really start to see some amazing gains in the customer experience, as opposed to somebody coming cold onto a call who doesn't know that you've been sat there for 45 minutes, who doesn't have the information at hand. If Pierce is a customer of mine and he comes up in the system, then I should have all of his information up there. I should know that he's been a customer for 10 plus years, and this is how much his customer lifetime value is, and I should treat him accordingly, as opposed to,
Well,
can I get your postcode and this and that and the other, and ask you 1,001 questions before you get to security, before I can actually speak to you.
no, and even come up with suggestions of this is the next best action to take with this customer right now. But still leaving it up to the human to decide what action to take.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Does any of the audience, would any of the audience like to jump in with their thoughts? I know we've got lots of conversation happening in the chat, but if anybody'd like to bring themselves off mute and
Yeah.
Farhan?
Yeah, Kennedy, how are you?
Yeah, good.
Very interesting conversation, and it's good to see a lot of very familiar faces. Adrian, good to see you, and a lot of other people. So I'm in Dubai. So very interesting. You see, I've been part of these transformations, and everywhere I go, I now very bluntly talk about one thing, that unfortunately, most of the organizations are using transformation digital as it's never been about customer experience. I'm sorry, it's always been about the cost save. Let's put a chatbot and then fire half of the call center people. That's what's been happening. Let's put an ATM, automated teller machine, and close 3 of the branches. Yesterday, I was in one of the banks with one of my friends, and she said, Farhan, what's going on? I hear so much about digitalization, but the queue was unbelievable. You still have to deposit cash. You still have to take out cash. And there's nobody there. Half of the counters were empty because they fired the people. There's nobody there to serve. Also remember, when a customer decides to go to a call center, I only go there when I have an emergency. I don't go there because I need basic information. I go there for some reassurance. I go there because I need some kind of some kind of authority and somebody to convince me about something. So those are scenarios where I really need to connect with a human being. I am not interested talking to a chatbot who doesn't understand me. I'm not interested to talk to somebody which is behind a non-human factor. But I want somebody to sympathize with me. I ran some of the call centers. Yes, sorry.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. What I think is really interesting, that AI also introduces something else. And I just heard an example. Somebody was earlier asking about good examples about chatbots. Well, this is not a chatbot, but it's somebody who takes money, goes to an ATM and wants money. So he puts in for a couple of €100, and then he forgets to take the money out.
Yeah.
And here's where AI comes in, which is really interesting, because the machine knows that that customer forgot to take his money. So a WhatsApp message goes to that customer. Do you realize you forgot to take your money out? No worries, we've got you covered. We will put it back on your account, but just so you know. And this is also, so it's not just the reactive part of it, but it's also the proactive part that becomes, that really makes our lives.
I absolutely understand what you're saying, but it would take some time for us to reach a state where every organization would reach a state.
Absolutely.
You would. Right now, that's not the ground reality. The ground reality today is more human interaction. And, if I lose my money, or if a ATM captures my card, I immediately know that my card has been captured by the ATM. Nobody needs to send me or if I'm not taking my money, the moment I step out and I would realize that my money is, I would probably walk back into the branch. Yes, AI has a lot of capabilities, but it would take some time. But today's reality is that the phygital part, where human interaction and digital interaction needs to be hand in hand, is very important. You need to give customer an option. It should be an option, not take it or leave it. Either it's the machine or that's where we're moving towards. We are being forced into an environment where it's digital driven. I love digital. I'm a very digital driven. But please understand, biggest organization in the world, best ones in the world, like Amazon's and Zappos and all, they have amazing digital technology, but at the same time, customer can talk to a human being whenever they want to, as and when they're available. So they know that the moment I decide to talk to a human being, my card got lost. Digital did an amazing job. I could block my card immediately. Within 5 seconds, I blocked my card on my mobile phone. Digital did the part, but the transactions kept coming in because somebody is using it. Transactions didn't stop because under floor limit, you can use it. I called the call center because somebody needs to tell me, Farhan, don't worry, you blocked your card. Now whatever is being done, we'll take care of it. That's the assurance I need behind that digital. And so there are a lot of examples where you, I'm sorry, I'm not part of this debate. You guys are doing a great job, but I just wanted to make a point. Thank you.
Thanks, Farhan. Thanks for getting involved. So we've got 10 minutes left, and I'd just like to end on a summarization from each of our panelists to make sure that everybody gets back to their day. I know our time is precious, so if we can kick off with you, Adrian, with your summary of this conversation and what you think. Do humans want self-service, or do they want human contact, or is it a mixture of the both?
Well, I think that some of them they want, some of them they don't know they want, because ultimately we will get there. And here it is again, what Nicolette said at the very beginning, and to confirm during the discussions, it is not either AI or human, it is a combination. And the best way of using it is to offer the customer the possibility to, based on his needs, to go on the channel, because sometimes they need a very fast answer, a very fast reaction. And here AI can help. You just give an example, Farhan gave another one earlier. And sometimes based on his needs, he needs an emotion, he needs support. As Piers earlier mentioned, a call center not with a script, a call center individual with knowledge behind. Because if call center people, contact center, customer support people, they know their products and they know that what they are selling, they can support the customer based on his personal needs. So AI is good in the customer experience. Human is giving the emotion, and the combination is giving us the best customer experience we are looking for. So that's my final statement. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Sue?
I'm going to lead with a quote from Steve Jobs. And it goes something like, people don't know what they want until you show them. So a lot of times we put things out there, whether it's the chat bot, whether it's self-service this, automation that, or maybe not, and they ask for it, in feedback. That's where providing opportunities for customers to provide feedback, a call to action for them, whether it's in a survey, whether it's an interview, whether it's polling, and giving them those opportunities to provide that feedback. Then I'd say the biggest call to action is in the form of content, providing case studies, providing, hey, we're working on doing a combination of providing you with self-service as well as live agent. What do you think about that? What would be most beneficial to you to help you simplify things for you, make you more successful in your business, and giving them those tools. That's going to help create this strategy and this tool that is a combination of self-service automation. And it's going to be something that they'll want to use. And that having them be more active with you is going to be the biggest piece to help you with your customer experience.
Well, it's similar to Henry Ford's quote, which is, if I'd asked my customers what they would have wanted, they would have said a faster horse. Steve Jobs clearly had a bit of inspiration on that one as well. Nicolette, if you'd like to summarize to finish us up.
Yes, thank you. Great comments. There's a nice message in the chat from Tom Carnival. He took his sons, 19 and 21, to the local branch office of his bank before it closed down. And I think that kind of says it all. It needs to be intuitive. So people don't even realize that they're dealing with AI, that they're dealing with an augmented human who actually is getting input from different sources. I think, especially the Gen Z, they don't want to use a phone. They're even, they're not really used to calling someone, so they're really sort of apprehensive to pick up a phone. But they're very used to, on their phone, everything is a mix of AI and human. And I think, especially looking at the service domain part of experience, it needs to be intuitive and it needs to be hassle-free and pleasantly surprise me. And I think that that's where AI really will help the humans to pleasantly surprise customers. Whether it's in an acquisition cycle or in a service cycle. But at the same time, don't bother customers with anything unnecessary. Just really make sure that whatever you do, it's relevant, and to Sue's point, it's tuned to what that customer needs and wants in that moment in time.
Thank you very much. And I just want to finish on Hank's comment in the comments, because I think it's hits the nail on the head and ties everything together. Are tools important? Yes. Should there be focus on strategies, transformations? Not really. And he says, if you're building a house, you don't have a tool strategy. The strategy is focused on the blueprint, the purpose, the architect's drawings, right? So we need to move our focus from tools to the actual purpose. And I think that's a really nice way to round off today's session. I'd like to thank Nicolette, Sue and Adrian for joining us today and sharing their insights. I'm sure we all agree it's been a fantastic conversation. It's been emotional at some stages. But no, thank you all to the audience as well. You've all been fantastic, joining in and giving your opinions and questions. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful day and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all so
Thank you,
much.
guys.
Have a wonderful day.
Bye.